oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, black people, we've got to fight. Zumbi, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, black people, we've got to fight. Yes, until why you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh,
we have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there, and so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm gonna build the government that we need to have. Ooh, where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we gotta go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us have the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Sodai. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Sodai is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.
Welcome, 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 and greetings to everybody out there for tuning in today with us, the African State of Emergency, A.S.E Collective. I'll be your moderator today, Mansa Fode Ajambu. I serve as the president for this gallant body. We're in the very beginning stages of tackling an issue of self-determination as it relates to security for our people as we travel to and from the continent. And we live here. And hopefully this thing is stretched back around the world, and everybody out there understand that no matter where we are, Africans must secure our own selves. We have nobody else to secure us. So with that, I'm not going to waste too much time. I want to go right into this presentation, right into this. But of course, we're Africans and we have to do it the African way. If this was the United States or Snakes of America, they might have you pledge the allegiance to some flag. But for us, we turn to our Queen Mother, who's also among us today, Mama Jalika, as she gives us a libation. It's pre-recorded. Y'all just sit back and pay attention. Ashe.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. My name is Jalika Jatta. As an elder within the A.S.E collective, I've been given the honor to initiate tonight's program by recognizing, respecting, and referencing the ancestors whose shoulders we stand on and our elders whose shadows we walk in. Ancestral spirits, we call upon you today. We stand before you, ancestors, spirits of the land, sea, and sky, guides of our past, protectors of our present. We honor your wisdom, your strength, and your sacrifices. To those who came before, who walked this earth with dignity and grace, who sowed the seeds of our existence, we offer our gratitude, our respect, our devotion. Today, we especially honor our brothers and sisters who had found solitude on the soil of Africa and have passed on in countries such as Ghana and Gambia. Our ancestors who in life sought to uplift and protect the community. May their spirits find peace and continue to inspire us. May our ancestors carry forth their mission of care and unity, recognizing the need for the enhanced safety and security. We, the A.S.E collective, stand on the values of Uadilafo, Umoja, and Ujima, committed to fostering an environment of mutual respect and protection. For all diasporas, Africans, home and abroad, may the ancestral spirits continue to give us blessings, to give us courage, to empower us, to thrive, to create a safer, more supportive network. Honoring the principles of balance, harmony, and justice, I pour these words as sacred libations to our ancestors. May they reach you in the realms beyond, and may your spirits continue to guide us in unity, in love, in the internal circle of life. Ashe. Amen.
Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. And to add to that, we say Abiba for ODA, African liberation, in the spirit of Abiba Tumi, Black Power. And moving forward, I want to introduce you guys out there to the powerful team that has been planning and meeting and organizing and, prioritizing this issue for the last few months before now, where we bring you this launch event virtually. First, I'll start with myself, of course. I'll serve as the president for the A.S.E collective, African State of Emergency. I also serve as the third assistant president general for the UNIA ACL Rehabilitating Committee 2020. I also serve as the executive director for the Black Star Action Network International, along with other things. Not about titles, it's about the work that we do. Very committed to the cause of repatriation and African liberation. To sum me up in very small terms, that's all that I'm committed to. The rest is secondary. With that, I'll move on to the next. Our sister, our queen, vice president, Sister A.S.E. I'll bring her out and she can say a few words herself. And I'll continue that process with every member as they come out and are introduced.
Greetings.
Sister. How you
Peace,
doing?
peace, King. Well, and yourself?
I'm great. I feel great right now. I'm glad we're finally doing this,
Divine, divine. Well, greetings to all. I am A.S.E, Vice President of the African State of Emergency Collective and an advocate for healing, protection, liberation, advancement, and the sustained sovereignty of Africans. My academic background is in adult mental health and alcohol, other drugs, and addictions. I also work with social science administration in terms of policy making for organizational functioning and leadership. So for the past 16 years, I've also applied my knowledge, skills, and gifts to serve my African communities. I assist with co-hosting quarterly sister circles. I facilitate virtual meditation group. I'm also a certified Basu, in Western terms that would be called a yogi. So my entire background is in healing, and even with yoga practices, as we know, the origins were to unite the higher and the lower self. So, as a part of the African State of Emergency Collective, I will be applying my knowledge, skills, and gifts within the realm of mental health advocacy.
Ashe, Ashe. Thank you so much, sister, for the
Ashe.
introduction. And I'm not gonna
Indeed.
waste no time with this because I'm ready for the whole team to be out here. Secondly, we bring out our secretary. You know, this brother really shouldn't need no introduction, but he's been doing great work in the community and spreading the word of mental health. But he's gonna tell you more about himself. I'll bring out next Secretary Brother Suraj, and he'll tell you the rest about him. Welcome, brother.
My mic. I'm gonna mute my mic. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Hope all is well today. You know, it's a blessing and honor to be here, and you know, I'm just happy to be a part of A.S.E Collective. Yeah. So, as certain folks know or others don't know, my name is Suraj Oloboyega Tokumbo Odukunle, and I have been appointed as Secretary of A.S.E Collective. I'm also part of the mental health advocacy team, and my background is working in mental health. I currently work in mental health supported housing as a recovery worker. Other background experiences I've had is worked in the pupil referral unit with Black boys who've been excluded from the public school system. I've also worked as a part of this Senko, which is special needs with people with autism, and I've also worked with ADHD children in the public school system. I have been a part of the community for the past 12 years now, and yeah, it's just an honor to be here. And not to forget, I am also founding member of the Man in the Mirror project.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. We welcome you. As you see, we got some professionals in their fields. We're not playing with this here. Next, I'll bring out our coordinator, and you actually heard her voice on the libation. This is our Queen Mother, the elder of the group. Her name is Jalika, but I'll bring her out and she can explain more about who she is to the collective. Greetings, Mama.
Greetings all. As I said at the beginning, my name is Jalika Jatta. I'm presently living in Gambia, West Africa. My profession stems from nursery nurse, doula, youth offending, what we used to call in UK the WAG person, meaning bringing children into school and taking parents to court for not attending school, and experiences in terms of youth offending also. I've retired now. I'm so pleased. And I want to give my services to Africa, to the young people of Africa, and also in terms of A.S.E. There's anything I can do to assist individuals who want to return to Africa and know the ins and outs, especially within Gambia, I am here. Thank you, brother.
I say, thank you, Mama. And next, we move right on to our public relations officer, no other than my own better half, my queen, Kenya Malika Mansoray. You scoot on over here now.
Yes, greetings, family. Hope all is well. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Kenya Malika Mansoray. I currently serve as a public relations officer on the A.S.E. In the A.S.E. collective. I'm also on the public relations team with Sister Jalika. I currently serve in other capacities. I serve as the local division president of the UNIAACL here in Freetown, Sierra Leone. I also serve as the president for Black Star Action Network International, as well as ADA, president for ADA, et cetera, et cetera. I do have a background in media. I've worked in radio. I have some skills in website building, graphic design, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm looking forward to this event, and I'm so glad for this initiative. It's something that we really need, and I'm looking forward to the program.
Absolutely. Speaking on the graphics, hey, y'all could just hold y'all shirts up, man. Let them know we in uniform out here. It ain't no game. You know, it ain't no game. We out here for y'all. You know, that's what it is. And then last but not least, we're going to bring out our brother who's a specialist in international coordinating and diplomacy. This brother is a foundation. He's a rock of this work. And, you know, I'm going to let him come out and say a few things to you himself. With no further ado, Brother Ramzu.
Yeah, salute everyone.
Salute,
Greetings.
brother.
Greetings.
Team, greetings to the community, everybody listening. I hope everybody is listening, but I'm just Ramsey, and I'm just a simple servant of our people, served by any means necessary for us to achieve our self-determination. I'm part of the A.S.E. Collective International Coordinating Team and Diplomacy Team. But overall, my work involves the nation worldwide is asserting the right, especially in the United States. Though I'm in Egypt right now, is I advocate and I organize for Black people to assert their right of self-determination. I'm a human rights policy officer, and we advocate that human right, which is the number one human right, the right of self-determination, not the Kwanzaa definition, by the way. So don't go looking at the Kwanzaa definition of self-determination. Talking about the right of self-determination, which gives us a right as a people to take over where we live and declare our independence and govern ourselves. So as an officer, I've been advocating that for a number of years. So instead of us complaining about this and that, assert that right, stand up like men, protecting the women and children, and do that. But that's all I am, just a simple servant of the people and an advocate of the right of self-determination as a human rights officer.
I say, brother, it's an honor. It's an honor. So there you have it, guys. This is our team, and we are here to serve. There's no shenanigans about it. We want to go into the background right away so the listening audience can understand how we got to this point of forming this team. And there's no one better to really break it down than our brother Siraj, who's been here from day one. But I pass the mic to the brother, and you can definitely elaborate.
Yeah, A.S.E. Collective. You know, we're proud, you know, as an African family to be here today, to give service to what we call a call to action. You know, and the whole purpose of this was from the passing of our beloved sister Shakina Chinadu, who transitioned earlier on in the year, and we give thanks, who transitioned earlier on in the year, and yeah, you know, this situation was something which was a blow to the community. It was a blow to the community, and we felt the urge or the urgency of continuing and honoring her legacy going forward. I was when it all happened, you know, also lost a few other people prior to this, and I just felt, I couldn't just sit back. And I connected with Brother Mansa as someone who is always active in the community. And I've been following Brother Mansa for quite a while. I reached out to Brother Mansa because I was aware that Brother Mansa was in contact with Sister Shakina Chinadu. And when me and Brother Mansa connected, we was on the same page that we need to continue her work. Obviously in a different in a different capacity, but everything is interlinked when it comes to African liberation work. So yeah, we connected and we decided that we need a call of action because there has been an urgency of our sisterins who've been traveling to the continent who have been killed, and nothing really concrete has been done to the extent where this needs to stop. Yeah. So, we came up with this initiative, we came up with this idea, but I told Brother Mansa, don't forget to include Africa. So when we called it a state of emergency, we decided that we need to call it African state of emergency so we can connect with our brothers and sisters across the diaspora and also potentially build bridges with potential African networks to help us move forward when dealing with this problem.
Absolutely. Just to add a little more, man, just to piggyback off of that, I had known of you as well, but we hadn't connected yet. And Sister Shakina was a gem. She was a gem to the African world, particularly to those of us coming home and repatriating. She didn't just transition; she was murdered. She was murdered in her home. And that's why we said, hey, man, we have to create a security network somewhere that our people can call and reach out and know that somebody got their back while they're here on the continent, especially the sisters. A lot of the sisters travel alone, and there's nowhere to tap in. A lot of people have reasons why they don't want to tap into the governments of the countries that they're basically fleeing. And then after that, there's nothing. So just like what Brother Ramzu was saying, this is an act of self-determination. We're stepping up to govern our own affairs. And when you reached out to me, brother, it was like, okay, this is the next chapter. You invited me to your platform as well twice, and we had this conversation before, to gain consensus around it, to hear what other people had to say about it as well, before we finally, called our team forward and we consolidated the deal. So salute to you, bruh. If you never reached out and we never initiated the process of communication between ourselves as men and as brothers who was concerned about this situation, you wouldn't be here today. So, salute to you, and I appreciate you for that. That's the basic background. There's a whole lot more, but that's the basic background. I want to move forward now and pass the mic to Sister Ray, who's going to read the press release and go over the basic core values. Sister Ray is a diamond. She understands the seriousness and the urgency of the call. She's been fire under all of us to move in the best way, and she doesn't mind taking the lead. She doesn't mind taking the lead. She doesn't mind saying, this is how it needs to be done. What y'all think? And so, as you know, she's our vice president because she deserves to be. But I would like to pass it to you to go over the press release and the core values.
Indeed. Gratitude for your honest words. Indeed. African greetings again, family. Again, I'm A.S.E, and we are ecstatic to be here today for the virtual launching of the African State of Emergency Collective, which we call A.S.E for short. From our souls to the manifestations of the Most High. This innovative initiative is dedicated to supporting the safety of diasporic Africans traveling to, investing in, and residing on the African continent by providing essential resources, education, and community support. As we recognize the need for enhanced safety and security measures, the A.S.E. Collective is built on the values of integrity, unity, and collective work and responsibility. In Kiswahili, we say uadilifu, umoja, and ujima. As we exercise integrity, we vow to respect and protect the diasporic African community by honoring balance, harmony, order, righteousness, reciprocity, justice, and universal truth. We gleaned these 7 principles from Ma'at within Kemetic or ancient Egyptian sacred sciences. As we demonstrate unity, we vow to uphold the Pan-Africanist vision of diasporic Africans joining forces to ensure our safety. In terms of collective work and responsibility, we vow to be progressively productive together as we protect and advance African people through a system of accountability. With that said, A.S.E. Collective is committed to fostering an environment of mutual respect and protection for the diasporic African community, ensuring their well-being through principles of balance, harmony, and justice. By uniting our efforts, we strive to create a safer, more supportive network for all diasporic Africans. One of our primary goals is to establish a secure international communication network for diasporic Africans. Via virtual safe spaces and community discussions, we aim to address concerns and again promote accountability within the community. Our collective efforts are focused on building a supportive environment and system where African people can collaborate and, once again, exercise self and community accountability. The A.S.E. Collective will serve as a central hub for educational resources and community support, providing vital information and training to ensure the safety of diasporic Africans. Our initiatives include community outreach, virtual discussion forums, and development of interdisciplinary teams and partnerships. By strengthening our collective knowledge and resources, we aim to make a significant impact on the safety and well-being of the diasporic African community, both in Africa and abroad. If you would like more information, you can contact us at africanstateofemergency@gmail.com. That's Alpha Foxtrot, Romeo, India, Charlie, Alpha, November, Sierra, Tango, Alpha, Tango, Echo, Oscar, Foxtrot, Echo, Mike, Echo, Romeo, Golf, Echo, November, Charlie, Yankee. That's African State of Emergency at gmail.com.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
Now, without further ado, you're welcome. Do we want to transition into
Well,
our team?
absolutely. Yeah. So what we're going to do next is we're going to do PowerPoint presentations coming from our teams. This A.S.E. Collective consists of 3 teams working in tandem, but 3 distinctive teams. The first team is Brother Suraj and Sister Iya. They serve as the mental health advisory team and advocacy team. And they both have their own positions, but they can explain that for themselves. Either way, I want to go right into the PowerPoint presentation of this particular team. The other teams that we have is the International Coordinating and Diplomacy team, consisting of myself and Brother Ramzu. We'll be doing our presentation after this one. And then the last team is the Public Relations team, which is Sister Kenya and Sister Jalika. So with no further ado, if there's nothing from the team, I want to move right forward into the first PowerPoint presentation.
It's Sister Ray again. I am the mental health advocacy team's mental health and well-being advisor. The African State of Emergency Mental Health Advocacy Team, we call it A.S.E. Ma'at for short. It serves to ensure diasporic Africans are informed on how to identify and navigate mentally and emotionally challenging situations. Ultimately, A.S.E. Ma'at is here to keep diasporic Africans informed about the significance of maintaining mental and emotional balance and harmony, as well as encouraging and supporting self and situational awareness. So, the African State of Emergency Mental Health Advocacy Team aims to offer educational information, cultural guidance, and resources to diasporic Africans who are traveling to and within the continent of Africa. A.S.E. Ma'at and other African-centered common unity organizations seek to be an essential component in the traveling plans of diasporic Africans for the purpose of protection and empowerment. Our objectives as A.S.E. Ma'at is to disseminate educational information regarding mental health from a cultural perspective, provide wise counsel, offer referral services, and collaborate with other committee members and community partners to provide applicable services and or resources. And our goal as the mental health advocacy team is to increase behavioral awareness and provide culturally based support to diasporic Africans traveling to and within the continent of Africa. Um, and as the health and well-being officer, I provide general information about behavioral health. I also administer cultural travel readiness assessments and self and situational awareness assessments. And additionally, I offer information for profile specific cultural awareness. So for our prospective clients, you all will have a particular profile that's designed for where you're traveling to, you and where you're traveling to. So the information that I would impart to you will be culture specific to the region, your destination. And in order for me to be optimally effective with carrying out my duties, I coordinate with A.S.E. Ma'at's community resource officer, who is Brother Siraj, and he provides information, advice, and supportive service referrals to address the mental health needs of diasporic Africans. So next is Brother Siraj to explain who he is with regards to his role as the community resource officer. Brother Siraj.
You're muted, brother.
All right.
Okay. I appreciate you, ERA. I'm going to keep it on the main side, and I'm basically going to just talk about my involvement as part of the mental health advocacy team. So I am, once again, my name's Siraj Oluboyega Tukuboda Kunle, and I am part of the mental health advocacy team. And my role as mental health community response officer is providing information, advice, and supportive service referrals to address the mental health needs of the diasporic Africans. My duties and input is receiving calls to assess needs associated with mental health, coordinate with local behavioral health community partners to determine available services, and to provide emotional intelligence support to clients with empathy to ensure appropriate referrals are offered. Yeah. So I'm gonna just kind of elaborate a bit on my duties. So whenever we receive or get in contact with any sister who's of crisis, we are going to be accessible through our online initiative to make contact, to provide the necessary support which can help our sisters be prepared, as well as feeling just comfortable, making them feel comfortable in their vulnerability when sharing information, sensitive information, and making sure that we get them in contact with the necessary referrals, which can help them in that process, and also with maybe friends and family members which need to know about their whereabouts.
Very awesome. Would you like to go into the PowerPoint?
I think ERA. She basically went went over at the beginning, so she obviously said the part. So just
okay, no problem. So we can move forward, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds good. Let me get this off the screen. Get this back up here. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So you just heard from our mental health advisory team. And as you heard from early on, these are professionals in their field with years of experience, actively right now already helping the community and doing their thing. So it's a privilege, it's an honor to have you guys on board with us here. And to serve the African, not only women, but the man and the child as well. The whole family we're here to serve, but particularly the sisters, because what's happening right now in Africa is that the majority of those who are returning are our sisters, and many of them are returning alone or with somebody who they trust, but still they need a little mental health support and other along the way, and we hope to provide that. Moving forward, I want to go right into the presentation for the international coordinating and the diplomacy team. Brother Ramzoo, he's currently in Kemet. He's currently in Egypt. So I believe that he lost his contact. So I'm gonna just go ahead and wing it without him. Bear with me. All right. So my team is the international coordinating and diplomacy team of the A.S.E collective. We focus on diplomatic relations. Our objective in doing that is to identify and establish diplomatic relationships in the countries that we live in the countries that we know our people are traveling to, all across the continent of Africa. Some of our key actions is to engage with key stakeholders in African countries, security personnel, police, government officials, hospitals, anything that we as traveling Africans would need. It'd be our responsibility to make sure that we database and have those resources available to each and every African traveling from the diaspora. And then another key action is to develop partnerships with local resource teams. So it's not just about engaging the stakeholders, but actually developing partnering relationships, making sure that there's a mutually beneficial relationship there. So we also consider how best we can transfer skills and talents needed here within the diplomatic community, within the process as well. The outcomes that we hope to see, of course, is a strengthening of diplomatic ties and enhanced collaboration and support between African people. On to the next slide. We also plan to develop a database, the objective of which is to coordinate the creation of a database or a census. There's many, many, many Africans on the continent, and we don't know how many. We don't know their names. We don't know where they are. And maybe the enemy does, but we don't know where each other are. And so we're going to have to be able to develop a vast database that will help us keep track of each other and watch each other's back. So that's what this is addressing. Two of the key actions that go along with us doing that will be tracking and connecting with the African diaspora on the continent. That means we'll be putting in efforts to reach out and identify those of us who are on the continent and initiating that connection. Secondly, implement data collection strategies. Different ways to do it. You can use online means, organizing local events. There's a lot of different ways to implement data collection, and we're going to explore them all so that we can make sure we know where we're at and how everyone is doing. The outcome that we're striving for is, of course, to develop a comprehensive database of diasporans on the continent. As far as I'm concerned, there is none. Right now, we don't have one. There's nothing comprehensive about us coming home. A lot of us have been coming home individually and not tapping in anywhere. And that's what leaves us vulnerable for attacks. That's what leaves us vulnerable for scamming and all the other things that we hope we're able to counter with these initiatives. And then lastly, of course, improve communication and resource allocation. Resource is not just money. I emphasize that resource is not just money. Information is a resource. Skills are a resource. We want to be able to improve our communications by communicating more, by creating platforms through which we can communicate with each other more often. All right, so move on to the next one. And this will definitely deal with some emergency response training. We spoke briefly about our sister Shakina, but our sister Shakina was in a line of women who lost their lives, particularly in Gambia, where our mama Jalika is at right now. Just one African country seen like 6 or 7 deaths of women within 12 months. Yeah. Very mysterious circumstances. And one of my friends who I actually had the opportunity to guide and host here in Sierra Leone, she passed away exactly a week before Sister Shakina in the same country, under the same constraints. And one of the things that was obvious was that there was a need for mental health intervention in some of these cases. Someone should have been able to contact these sisters and say, hey, what's up? You okay? What you need? And some resources should have been available. But also, we want to emphasize emergency response training. What happens when there is an emergency within the diasporic community on the continent? What do we do? And so we want to begin to answer that question. Our objective for this is to plan and organize training sessions. It means that each and every single one of us on the continent need to go through some basic training about emergency response. We need to call on our brothers and sisters from the diaspora who have skills and professionalize in these areas to organize workshops, organize trainings that can enlighten us, because just because you come to Africa doesn't mean that you have that particular skill. Doesn't mean that. Do you understand? And so we want to focus on that. The key actions involved in the emergency response training: develop online and in-person training programs. Absolutely. Secondly, partner with experts for effective training, not just making stuff up in our mind or doing what worked in the hood and what grandmama said. No. Effective training by experts. You know, it makes me think of Marcus Garvey, because he said, we're not sending back expats, we're sending back experts. And that was the main thing, to get the experts to the continent so that we can duplicate, so we can multiply ourselves here. Because even the African communities you will be coming to need better emergency response training. Even the places where you'll be moving to need better emergency response training. So it's good that we'll be able to facilitate that, not only for ourselves as a diaspora, but also be a bridge to assist communities that we live in with this very much needed thing, putting out fires, the Heimlich maneuver, things like that, how to stop wounds from bleeding, things like that. Very important information that we take for granted, because in the West you can just dial 911, but in Africa there's no 911 system. You will lay there and bleed out if no one knows how to stop the bleeding. And so we should be the experts in that regard. This is a great area to focus on, and a great area where we can create some exchange with our brothers and sisters on the continent where it benefit us all. Moving on, outcome that we seek from this emergency response training is enhanced community preparedness. Again, community, not just individual. Enhanced community preparedness, because the way we're organizing this A.S.E collective is as a community, not as a bunch of individuals scattered around the world, but we are sensitive to each other's needs, and we want to be able to cover each other's backs. We don't want to see the same thing happening again year after year after year after year, and we didn't come up with a response to that. And so, of course, the last outcome we seek is effective emergency response strategies, so that when there is an emergency, how do we respond? How can we have prevented some of these deaths from happening had we had a rapid emergency response system in place? You know, so we're talking about the basics of saving lives, our own lives. Moving forward, the guidelines for diasporic Africans. And we're saying diasporic Africans. I know a lot of people out there are used to hearing African diaspora. But we particularly say diasporic Africans because we're Africans of a certain type. We're Africans of a certain status in the world. Those of us who belong to the involuntary diaspora, those who were stolen away, we don't have, and for most of us, a state or a government that has our back. Even if you're in Jamaica, your government probably don't got your back in Africa. Even if, you know, regardless of where you're from, we have to have our own back. So it's just to make sure that we identify the most vulnerable group that we're targeting here. It's not isolated to only the diasporic Africans, but if a person is from the African continent, they have the benefits of a state, and they have the benefits of a president and a police system and everything at their disposal that we don't have when we come back. And so there is a difference in status. And so the name reflects that. So guideline for diasporic Africans, the objective, discuss and outline core principles and guidelines. Sister Ia, she just talked about our core values, but we're talking about also principles and guidelines, how we should function. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. We should systematize this for our own safety and for our own efficient action when it needs to be taken. Some of our key actions: develop guidelines for safe and responsible travel. A lot of people take it for granted that all they have to do is get a ticket and get the right vaccines, and then voila, you can travel. No. There's guidelines for your safety. Just like when you're in the West and you go into a bad neighborhood, you got to watch your back. Anywhere you go in this world, you have to have that same mentality. And there's guidelines and there's ways to be safe and responsible while you travel, not only for yourself, but your loved ones, your children that's waiting for you to return home, your wife, your husband who couldn't make the trip, your family. Responsible traveling. You're not just here to have a great time, and then secondly, provide resources and support for diasporic visitors, which is very important because, just to be frank, we can't be tourists on the continent. Africans can't be tourists at home, but some of us can get treated like that. And so there needs to be resources on the ground and support on the ground that everybody has access to. And that's a part of what we plan to put into place. So the outcomes that we seek with this is a clear, meaning there ain't going to be no confusion about it. Clear guidelines for visitors. Like I said, you're not tourists, you're just visiting home. Improve safety and cultural understanding as well. Making sure that the cultural education is also included. You know how to greet in the local languages. You know what to expect in the marketplace. You understand the money that you're going to be handling. You know, things like that. You understand the political climate of the country that you go to. You know, there could be some serious political crisis in your country and you don't know. And you're just there, la, 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 la. That could be dangerous for you. And so we want to provide and create clear guidelines for visitors. And then lastly, improve safety and cultural understanding again. Moving on, this is our team for now, but we are seeking and we're calling on others who have talents and skills and interests in serving in the international coordinating and diplomacy team. I know there's many, many of you out there. I see we have quite a few people watching the show. Heed my voice. If you got the skills, you want to be involved in the coordinating and the diplomacy at the international level, please contact us. To become a team member, it says here, are you passionate about building strong international connections and empowering the African diaspora? I know I am. We're looking for dedicated individuals with skills in diplomacy, database management, training facilitation, and cultural expertise to help us forge new partnerships, create vital resources, and support our community in meaningful ways. Your contribution can make a lasting impact. Join the International Coordinating and Diplomacy team today and be part of something transformative, not only for you, but for the world. When Africans can safely travel to Africa from anywhere in the world and get our business done and handle ourselves responsibly, the whole world is in a better place. Get involved and make a difference. Again, the team is myself, Fode Ajamu Mansoure, who I serve as president of the A.S.E Collective, also as a team member of the International Coordinating and Diplomacy team, and our brother Ramzu Yunus, who also serves in the same capacity. All right, so that's it for us. The special skills needed in this particular area is we need people who know how to coordinate things. It's one thing to organize, it's another thing to coordinate. You know, you can organize the way you want to wear your clothes, but the color coordinate them is something different. Coordinating. Organizers, people who have a passion for organizing. Not everyone likes to organize. Some people are in the movement, but they hate the organizing part. You know, some people are in the movement, but they hate the studying part. They love the organizing, but hate the study. We need balance. Those of you who love organizing and are passionate about it, we're calling on you. Those who are security personnel, people who have had security training, those of our family members who have gone to the military, those who have served in other security areas, even if you was just serving as a security in a local high school, it doesn't matter. You go through a small level of training and awareness around security that the average people don't have. If you have security experience, we're calling on you. Diplomacy and negotiation. Those of you who have been involved with conflict resolution. Those of you who have been involved in peacemaking and peacekeeping efforts in the community, at home or abroad. We need you. We need you because it's a lot of that we're going to need to do. We have to put out fires. Our people are not perfect. Sometimes we have conflicts too. You know, how we deal with them is going to require specialists in those fields. Database management. If you know how to do this, please. Training and workshop facilitation. Cultural and regional expertise. Very, very important. And again, you can contact us at africanstateofemergency@gmail.com. That's the end of my presentation for us. Thank you. So next we'll go on to the public relations team. Our sister Kenya Malinke Mansoure and our mama Jalika Jata, they will take it away from here and give you guys an understanding of where we're going with this. Stick around. We're going to have a roundtable discussion after this. We're really going to chop it up. And then there's going to be a time for question and answer. Prepare for that because you can just ask your questions in the comment section of the YouTube. So prepare for that. I'm moving right on to the public relations team. All right.
Okay, greetings everyone. It's me again, Sister Kenya Malinke Mansoure. and I am part of the public relations team. I'll be doing the presentation for this segment. So in our introduction of the media for A.S.E Collective, we'll be expanding our public relation efforts to effectively engage and empower our communities. So wherever African people are, we want to make sure they're aware of the A.S.E Collective. So this presentation will outline media apparatuses focusing on key areas, including social media, our blog, our upcoming blog, our website, upcoming biweekly podcasts, workshops, newsletters, and travel and safety tips. So first and foremost will be our social media strategy. So we have currently our social media. We have our Facebook. In our Instagram, you can both go to, for both of those, you can follow African State of Emergency on Facebook and IG. We'll be setting up our WhatsApp group and our Telegram group. These groups will be actually assisting with the coordination, the information for not just emergencies, but just for information sharing. So if you're looking to be a part of those groups, you can always email us there at africanstateofemergency@gmail.com. Second will be our blog. So we'll be developing our blog, and our blog will serve as a central platform for in-depth articles, updates, and thought leadership. So the A.S.E Collective will be making a call for those who have a passion for gathering information and writing to contribute to our blog. This blog will aim to publish regular content that resonate with our community, covering topics related to safety, empowerment, and African unity. So our website, as I spoke briefly about, so the A.S.E Collective web space will be hosted currently now on basani.org. So you'll be able to find us on Basani. So some of the key features will include a centralized hub for all collective A.S.E Collective activities, seamless integration with social media platforms in our blog, and easy access to resources, event calendars, and membership information. So we'll be creating a weekly podcast on Kimbunga Media. So this podcast will cover issues affecting the African diaspora, featuring expert interviews, community voices, and actionable insight. The podcast will be available on popular mainstream platforms such as streaming on our Facebook, as well as Kimbunga Media on YouTube channel. We'll also be featuring on the public relations. We'll be featuring online and in-person workshops. President Foday Mansour, he just spoke about the workshops that we'll be covering. So the collective public relations will be hosting these workshops to educate and empower the community on various topics, including safety, leadership, and community organizing. These will be conducted both in person and online. We'll be developing a blog of a newsletter. A.S.E Collective newsletter will be a monthly publication that provides updates on our activities, upcoming events, and important news. It will be distributed via email, newsletter subscription, and available on our website. Another thing we'll be doing is travel and safety tips. We'll be creating a dedicated section on our website for in our social media channels for travel and safety tips. This will include resources for safe travel, health advisories, and emergency contacts. And this is the team. As you met us early on in the broadcast, become a member. Join the A.S.E. Collective Public Relations team and be a driving force in shaping the narrative of African empowerment. Your skills in social media, content creation, design, and communications can help amplify our message and connect with communities and make a real impact. Together, we can build a stronger and more unified voice for the African diaspora. Step up, contribute your talents, and be a part of the movement that's changing lives. Your journey with us begins now. Let's make history together. And of course, myself, King Malinke Mansouri, I serve as the public relations officer as well as on the public relations team. And Mama Jalika Jata, who currently serves as the coordinator as well as on the public relations team. So join the public relations team today. Some of the skills that's needed will be social media manager, website designer, graphic designer, writers, video editors, content creator, newsletter coordinator, and you can reach us at africanstateofemergency@gmail.com. Once again, africanstateofemergency@gmail.com.
Okay, okay. So we made it through that section. We made it through that part of it. Yay!
Yes.
So hopefully you guys out there can still hear us. It's beginning to rain here in Freetown. We're not yet done with the rain season. But great job with the presentation, family. I hope everyone out there got that, because it's only the introduction, it's only the beginning. We know we're only on limited time, but we could have dove into every single one of those aspects a lot more. But I want us to go right into the round table discussion. Everybody can just open their mics, feel comfortable with speaking on these different issues. We've had a lot of conversations ourselves, as a team, but it's, now it's time to pretty much give the public a better understanding of, what we mean, in terms of what we just presented. So the round table, and we're right on time, by the way. The roundtable discussion, the first point we want to discuss is security, which is exploring safety measures and protocols. And then also there's the physiological aspect, addressing the physical health and wellness of diasporic Africans. I think they kind of go together. We can open that conversation up. Security, exploring safety measures and protocols. We've had some conversations about what we can do in terms of getting a better understanding of the people that we're dealing with, and at the same time, putting some measures and some protocols in place. I know, Sister E.I., you've really been knocking it down in terms of making some good suggestions of how we can go about developing those protocols. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Well, with regards to security, that's twofold. We want to, of course, ensure the protections, the guidance, the safety of our clients, but there's work for us to do on our end when it comes to community partnerships and making sure we're making the correct connections with the destinations that our clients will be traveling to, right? Building a rapport and maintaining relationships. So security is not just the protections of who we serve. It's also doing the research to know who we are in alignment with, and if we're serving the same purpose, the same common unity, right? We take for granted. So there's a book called Common Sense Security by Baba Malima Baruti, and I think we take it for granted. Like, people often say common sense is not common. When you arrive at your destination, who knows that you have arrived, and who knows your host is, who you're connecting with, what is your destination from that airport. We talk extensively about communication with your safety net. If do you have family? Some people don't have emergency contacts; they just have themselves. That's where our A.S.E Collective comes in, right? We become that liaison for their security when they're going when they are traveling to wherever they're traveling to. Um, I know I could be a bit extensive. So my mind automatically goes to, before I even get on a plane, I need to know travel time and distance from this location to that location. I want to know where the medical facilities are. I want to know where we talk about the embassies. I need to know. And when we do our tour, those are going to be the first stops. Okay. Because if something goes awry, at least I know where those locations are. And then I can have my fun and enjoy myself. But that's paramount, right? It's imperative for us to know, with regards to safety, what do we have in place before we think about the pleasure of the trip, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's my input on security.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone else got something to add to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna just add something quick. I'm gonna add something briefly. So yeah, and also it's important for our Africans in the diaspora who come to the continent to be aware. So we're obviously in the process of putting together a manual or a guide booklet, so at least we when sisters, like, well, sisters in particularly, but obviously the brothers as well, when they liaise with us, we can obviously provide certain information for them, just for them to be ready, prepared. So this information is imperative for our people to know, because I know people can easily get, and as ERA has mentioned, these things are paramount at the beginning, before trying to go and be playful and so forth. These are things which aren't necessary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We talk about the training as well. We have a whole process through which, when it's time for you to come to the continent, how do you go about that? What is the first thing you do? Well, of course, you have to contact us. And once you contact us, you'll go through a process. You go through a process um, of information, but also some training. We require that you go through training in terms of cultural understanding, in terms of even travel advisories. How should you travel? You depending on what country you go in, I talked about databases and gathering information and make information available. So, for example, if you're going to Ghana and you know that you're going to Ghana, that's one thing. But where are you going in Ghana? Are you going to northern Ghana, southern Ghana, eastern Ghana, western Ghana? And based on that, we should be able to pinpoint and identify other diasporic Africans who may be near you. We may be able to identify the best health facilities, 2 or 3 hospitals near you that are accustomed to working with people as they travel. You wouldn't know these things if there's no one doing that research for you and making the information available. And so there is some training that goes along with coming to the continent. Some would say like a rites of passage, but we're talking about some training. I came in 2013. I'm in Sierra Leone, and there was no training prior. There was just me coming here with what I knew in the United States, and I had a lot of experiences that could have been avoided had I had some training and had I known what hospital to go to when I first contracted malaria, things like that. If I knew, it would have been different. And there's a lot of people who come to the continent now, and because they don't have access to these resources, they immediately turn around and go back. And it's because no one is taking the proper preparation part of it serious. And then also, those of us who are in place to provide it have not yet come forward with this A.S.E collective until now. So I want to add that as well. Once you contact us, you will go through a application process. If you want to join us, you will go through a skills assessment. We want to make sure that you have the skills and the ability really to keep up with the work of the team, and just to be able to assess you and also give you opportunity to ask any questions that you have before you actually make it official with us. But training is involved. We are volunteering. There is no money involved in this. We are making sure that our people have this information and access to these resources, whether there's a dollar to be made or not. That is not what we're here for. And so there is some training. So prepare yourself to learn some new things. And also, if you have anything to contribute to the process, prepare yourself to give it up, because we want it. We want to know what we don't know that can improve our service to the broader community. So I'll halt there for now. But is there anything else on that particular subject?
Yeah, I wanted to say something about the security as well. As we all know, security is mostly physical. You always think about being secure, make sure your surroundings are secure. And I saw a comment here that says, I don't trust anybody with a mental health background. And this is the craziest part. And I will tell you, being a repatriate in Africa for almost 9 years, and the culture shock, the depression that expatriates go through mentally. I wish I had a mental health professional when I first got here to help me, guide me through some of the things that I couldn't by myself, or my husband couldn't with him. You understand? So having somebody that's stepping up and saying that, we know that there's a study that says people that move abroad has a higher risk of depression and other things of that sort. Just because of that's the mental. You're away from your family, your familiar surroundings are out the door, a whole lot of things that you go through. So to know that somebody that has a mental health background can step in and assist you through some of those things, I would have been greatly appreciative if I had that when I was here my first, second, third, fourth year. I was still going through it. And those who never been away from home like that don't know. I'm sure that Brother Ramzu, he been on the continent for 20 years, on and off.
Right.
My husband have been here 12 years. I'm almost 9. So yes, I appreciate those who is prioritizing African diaspora mental health. We are not just physically sick.
Absolutely. You know, that brings us right back to the fact that we're already losing lives that could have been saved with a mental health intervention. If people knew that they could pick up the call and say, "Hey, man, I'm not feeling too good out here. I just need somebody to talk to."
Exactly.
Maybe, just maybe, they would have made different decisions.
Exactly.
Just maybe. And none of us is above mental illness. None of us. Nobody. We can talk about it. We should become more comfortable talking about it, because life is real. Emotions are real. Your mentality is real. Anything can happen to you.
We lost people
we've lost people, friends, while we're here.
Abroad, in here.
And so there's a lot that happens when especially you're moving back to the continent to live. Also, think about the children. Think about being a child from the United States of America moving to Ghana all of a sudden, or moving to Sierra Leone all of a sudden, or Nigeria, where the conditions and the infrastructure is a little different, and the kids speak a different language, and they could experience some cultural bullying. You never know. And so we need our mental health professionals on board. I can't believe the brother said that, but I appreciate him saying it, because
absolutely, it's a round table discussion, and most of the time that people speak, they're speaking from their own experience, and so it's not, pardon me, it's not really personal, right? It's just that it's his experience from whatever, or her experience from whatever position that they're coming from, right? And what they've gone through to get to where they are. And so, yes, it's a very valid statement for that individual. right?
Right.
But when we talk about mental health, we're talking about psychology. And when we're talking about psychology, the etymology of the word psyche means spirit. So if we're talking about spirit, we're talking about energy. And we're not approaching this from a Western or Eurocentric paradigm, right?
Right.
Although that is what my background is in. I went to prestigious, predominantly white institutions, right? But I'm African, and I know that, right? That's why I'm marginalized, because if I go to the Western society in African communities, some people don't know they're African. I might be considered a witch, right? She crazy. Is something wrong with her? If I go to the academic institutions, they say, "Oh my God, she has a gift." We want to be able to exploit that for our gain, because her community doesn't recognize who she is, right? Because we've conditioned them so well to assimilate into our community, she's been ostracized, right? But it was incumbent upon me as an adult to say, okay, this is who I am, and this is what I use my gifts for. So we're talking about spirit, we're talking about culture, right?
Right.
And getting beyond the perceptions that are imposed on us, because that's propaganda. So yes, I get it. When I see mental health, listen, I'll be like, okay, so where did you go to school? And I have to interview and assess a mental health practitioner to know if they could properly give me what I need from a cultural perspective. And so that's what I do for my clients outside of in my daily life, in my occupation. That's what I do, because I know that, okay, on page 52 about this diagnosis and the DSM, this is what it's, okay, that's fine according to Western practices. We're African. So understand that when we're talking about mental health, we have to use broad terms for everybody to understand, because it's universal. I could say all day spiritual health. I could put in behavioral health. I could put any term, but mental health is just so we can reach the masses. But if you talk to me on one-on-one, we can get to it.
Yeah.
So we can get a better understanding.
I'm going to quickly add to that.
Understanding, overstanding.
And also, as Africans, when we go through the transition of knowledge of self, the whole purpose of us being here today is because we are using our skills, our experience, and our abilities to create an African-centered framework in order to put that forward, in order to brothers and sisters globally with what we're doing today. So yes, we there is a number of us who have studied in these European institutions, but at the same time, there's a number of us who's also studied with African-centered scholars and have utilized the resources of our ancestors to can obviously move forward and continue the work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad you put the explanation point on the end of that, because we say mental health, but we're talking about Africans, and from an African perspective and from an African cultural center. That's why it's the African state of emergency, not the European state of emergency, not the Chinese state of emergency. We're Africans, and so that's who we're servicing. This brother here, if you see the bottom of the screen, he's asking, are we all located? Are we located in one place? No, we're not, brother. We are an international body. We have UK, United States, Gambia, Sierra Leone, and Egypt all put together on this team, and will be more of us as well, because we're calling for you and anyone else with the talents or skills needed to join us. So this is going to ultimately be a global institution. We have representatives everywhere, and people step up to be part. So that just answers that. The next one was the physiological. It's talking about addressing the physical health and wellness of diasporic Africans. I want to kind of kick that one off, because when I was in America, I was a health freak. I mean, I was not eating meat. I was working out, I was running, and everything like that. But a lot of places in Africa, they don't have that kind of culture. They maintain health. They work a lot harder than us, just physically. So they sweat more. They're in the sun more. They have a different way of getting it. But when you come from the Western culture, you're looking for a gym. You're looking for metal weights. I ran into Yeah, Whole Foods. Nah. I was getting food from the street market, and the weights we make them out of cement in Africa. So you got to adapt. You got to adapt whatever it is that you do to stay healthy out there to here, and you're going to need to be more healthy here
Yes.
than what you are there, because
Exactly.
there's certain sicknesses that are out here. Malaria. I've never had to deal with malaria until I got here, and it almost took me out quite a few times. But now I understand how to, treat myself and maintain my health in a way where it don't even bother me anymore. But I came not knowing. I came
Yes.
not having a simple idea about how to deal with malaria fever when it happens. And you can literally die from it. Or you have typhoid. Typhoid fever is all over the continent. It comes from the handling of foods and waters, contaminated waters and things like that. It's not the same. When we say African infrastructure needs improvement and development, this is what we mean. Even our people are drinking this contaminated water regularly. Even our people need to be trained in proper hygiene and sanitation practices. Most of African people are rural people. And if you end up in a city, you're going to be in a city with a whole bunch of people who aren't urban. They're from the bush, and they have the practices of the rural area, which may not necessarily be the best for sanitation and hygiene. So even as we organize ourselves, we also have to be prepared to train and organize the people here as well. So the physiology is so important.
I'm gonna,
yeah, go ahead, brother.
I just wanted to quickly add to that, just to interject to add to that, and also the whole purpose of us doing the assessments is also to know people's medical backgrounds, which is obviously imperative as well, because people need to know what they're obviously walking into. So if they have certain medical condition, we would obviously be aware of, what advice we can give, or even if we don't know personally, we could still also liaise with any of our referrals who can give the necessary advice, so we can obviously support you.
I have to come
That's
in
all I
here.
say. Don't.
Hello.
Elder.
I have to come in here and say that also a lot of diasporas will come to Africa knowing that they are sick and knowing that they will die. And they have to have the knowledge to know what to take, what to eat, and so on. And this is where A.S.E comes in, A.S.E Collective comes in to assist individuals. There are a number of people who are here now who know that they are sick and they are going to die, but they want to be here in the motherland. So it's these things that we need to look at.
Absolutely. We had an experience here with someone who traveled here, and what you just said just rung a big bell to us, because an elder, high spirited, looks healthy, and she got here, and we didn't know that anything was wrong. Later on, it was discovered that she had some diabetes situation going on, but we didn't know, and she was drinking certain things and eating certain things that if we knew, we would have been intervening, like, hey, no, not on my watch, because you mess around and they will lose their lives in your hands, and you never knew that that's what was going on. And so I'm glad you brought that up. The sister didn't lose her life, but it caused a big commotion for us, because she tried to blame her illness on something else other than what it actually was. Okay. And it caused some disturbances for us in our relationships here. You can travel to Africa and you can burn down someone else's institution. You can come irresponsibly. You can come and withhold information about your true intentions and what you're doing, and before you know it, you are an agent saboteur.
That's
before you know it, you sabotage someone else's whatever. And so it's very important to be on point there as well. You got something to add to that? Because
so I was
Kenya is the healer. She's the healer.
So I was gonna say that's a measure of security. We were
Yes.
just on the security aspect. That security aspect, knowing people physical illnesses and what they're dealing with. If they need medication, do you have your medication? Because if something happened and they're in your care, you're automatically blamed for it. If you're neglectful because you don't want to do this or take your medicine or go to the hospital get checked, at the end, the person that's hosting them is going to be 150, 200% responsible for that person. And if anything happened to that person, they're going to be to blame.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to really put that in mind when you're hosting people, because we've done it from out the kindness of our heart. Treated people like kings and queens when they got here, and then they take that and run with it and do something, exploit it. So users not gonna, just because you're a good person, that don't mean that they not gonna use you.
And that's just us. That's just our situation. But just imagine how many African brothers and sisters on the continent are being contacted every day by people who want to come, and they're not being told straight up, like, hey, I'm coming over there to give up the ghost. I want to die in Africa. You have no idea. Exactly. And so putting this in process, putting these processes in place help to secure everybody, including those who do have the heart to help others along the way. I want to address this comment. This brother says, we also need to establish solid, independent ways of communicating without the powers that be. Effectively, communication is under attack, and it can definitely be global. Even YouTube is controlled. And we've talked about this. We've talked about this. We've talked about this. And it's one of the reasons why we want to emphasize training. Because you know what? If you have 10 people trained in 10 parts of the world, they don't necessarily need to communicate. They already know what their mission is. They operating on code, But also, we want to prioritize using African spaces. We know this is YouTube, but this is Kimbunga Media too. This is an African-centered, Black nationalist, Pan-African creation that we're able to communicate with the broader masses on. We also highlight areas like Abibatumi. We have our independent websites as well that we plan to use, just to answer that, because I know a lot of people probably got a question about that. We're giving some good information up on YouTube, but it's okay. It's okay. This information belongs to the masses. We're just the ones bringing it together for them. And of course, there is, like we said, we're about safety and security. So there's certain conversations and certain information that we might not even talk to each other about on these platforms, because we got to have a little wink understanding of what's really going on. Yes. So I appreciate that comment as well. We do need to develop ways to communicate more effectively and more efficiently. I think that the training will help us minimize the need for constant communication all the time. By the time we have these networks established, we have our network in Nigeria, we have our network in Ghana, we have our team in these different places. The least we're going to need to communicate outside of that. And so communication will become localized, people will know each other, and we'll be able to serve the people without needing to communicate outside as much. Exactly. And we'll be on protocol, we'll be on code, you understand, with it. So I think that answers that. But let me go on to the next subject of the round table. The next thing is national communications and coordinating systems, what we were just talking about. Developing efficient communication and coordinating systems. I guess I can chime in on there as well, because we've had to develop it here for ourselves. For those who don't know, myself and my wife, we run a tourism company here. We help the diaspora not only reconnect with their ancestral roots, but also to set up business and run businesses, and also programs. We do medical missions and things like that. In doing that kind of work, we had to already create a kind of way to communicate. Now, in this country, I face all kind of communication, challenges, because even the internet is not always strong. Electricity is not always there. You know, there's a lot of things that can humbug the way that you need to communicate. But like I said, the best way for me is to meet physically and facilitate trainings. The best way is to know how to react to things as they happen without needing to communicate. We minimize the need to always be in communication with each other by training and knowing how to react to whatever circumstance can happen. So it is, we put a lot of emphasis on training. We've had to train tour guides. You know, we've had to train even people as they come how to move around without us when they want to be alone, when they want to go to the beach on their own, when they want to, you know, go to the market on their own. We have to give those kind of advices. But yeah, we need to also look at in Africa the primary means of communication. People communicate on WhatsApp more than anything. WhatsApp is number one before Facebook.
About it.
Yeah, before all of that. So you got to think of the main communication platforms that are being used on the continent. Almost everyone with a WhatsApp or with a phone number has a WhatsApp. Now, a smartphone, if they have it. Now, I believe about a year ago, it was only like 30 to 40% of the population here in this country even use cell phones. You know what I mean? So communication has to go beyond technology, beyond going online. They have to find different ways of communicating. And here they do it by meeting, you know, physically, having the communication. Everyone knows their assignments and they go out and they come back to a certain point as opposed to relying on just picking up the phone call. They have rendezvous points, times and places where they meet up along the way. That's very, very important, because if you know that every day we meet up at a certain place and you ain't there, we looking for you. You understand? We looking for you. Hey, Sister E, I ain't here. She ain't here. She would never miss this. It's 7 o'clock. You know? And we have our protocol in place. We know what we're gonna go out and do now. Where was she at last? Which one of us did she tell where she was going? You know, communication is mainly between us. It's us opening up to being monitored by each other.
Exactly.
You understand?
That's security.
Accountability.
So I open up with that statement, but I'm sure you guys have more to add.
Yeah, that's accountability and responsibility as well. It's a person that's responsible will do that. That has other people dependent on them to come back in a safe manner. You know.
Absolutely. Okay, bye-bye, fam.
Baba. Yeah, proper preparation prevents poor performance.
There's a lot of
That's the common thread.
Yeah. This says, our travel must also seek out ways we can build health, education, social structure, and economic power to and for our people we meet in travel. Even for us to do that, we have to be safe.
Exactly.
For us to do that, we need to have training prior to reaching the continent, or even as once we get here, we need to continue that training. We just need to have the institutions in place, the infrastructure in place to keep us updated and keep us trained up so we know how to move at any given time. What works today might not work 10 years from now.
What works in the UK might not work in Nigeria. What works in America might not work in Sierra Leone. Two totally different places. And you will have your heart broke, run back crying, and burn that country down if you're not smart and understand what you're getting into. A lot of people come here ignorant. A lot of people come here trying to do whatever they want to do. It don't work like that. The manipulation is real anywhere you go. The manipulation is real. They'll have you thinking that you're getting over on them, but at the end, it's gonna not be in your favor.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're isolated and they know nobody is there for you, and nothing's gonna happen to them. You don't know their real name. You don't know their real address. You don't know their real date of birth, where they're from. They telling you they auntie over here. This woman just met them a year ago. Yes. It's a lot of stuff that you have to understand when you're coming here. People are not always who they say they are.
Exactly.
Make sure that you're doing your own due
Due
diligence.
diligence, yes, yes, yes. Be
And know
vigilant.
that when you're coming through A.S.E. Collective, we're also vetting because we're not just sending
Exactly.
anybody because we want to know too. People can
Exactly.
be exploited, and we don't want to usher in the
Exactly.
exploiter.
Exactly.
Absolutely, absolutely. We must combat infiltration anytime we attempt to organize for our people. So definitely, this is not a playful matter. It's not just I'm going to hit them up and manipulate their program. It's not going to be that easy for you to do. We're putting measures in place to make sure that we safeguard ourselves as well as we do this work. This comment here is from
Ashe the
Sister.
Baba Magafuli, Tanzania.
Yes, this is Sister Abina. Sister Abina. She serves as the ambassador for the UNIACL in East Africa. This sister is dynamic.
Ashe.
As soon as she heard that we were doing the A.S.E. Collective, she actually already created a model. Her and her husband already created a model for how we can have a communications network, an online thing. We have to have a meeting with her. She might be great for the team. But she's of Jamaican heritage, but she's man.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
Ashe, Ashe.
She holds it down. She goes to Ethiopia often, Ghana, Uganda. She's all over the place. This is a dynamic sister. We got to get her on the team. But yeah. So also, I wanted to say briefly about the national communication and coordinating teams. Um, the goal is for every country, every single country to have a team of people connected to the A.S.E. Collective that will be trained and on call to volunteer our services to the traveling diaspora. Someone asked above about, how are we going to finance this thing? Well, it's not necessarily a thing to be financed. It's something to be, prepared for, because really we're not financing your trip. We're not. You're not paying us for the information we're giving you. We're trying to save lives. You know, but there is going to be a measure of support that we will need from time to time to keep our website running, to keep our keep things going in a certain kind of way, of course. And we plan to a few ways. One way is definitely to use the regular standard crowdfunding mechanisms we can use. Y'all see these shirts, in case you ain't see them, here they go again. Y'all see these shirts, y'all got to get one. You understand? Represent. And so, we're going to engage in regular fundraising to make sure that what we need, we have
And then
along the way.
volunteerism and resources.
And if somebody want to donate, they can make a donation. Hey, we doing the work. But it's not about that. And we don't even really want to make it about that. It's about saving lives. Going back to what Brother Sharad said in the very beginning, we lost a very powerful, powerful sister who was leading the movement in Gambia to secure our lands as we travel. She was going to the government and letting them know what we needed before most people even woke up and realized they was an African. And so there is already losses. There's already losses. And so we can't let her life be in vain, or any of the other brothers and sisters who lost their lives on this mission of repatriation. We're just trying to tighten up to make sure that we got our everything in place. So there's a lot of different questions. I want to go up a little more, but there will be national coordinating teams put in place. So if you're going to Nigeria, after you go through the processing with the proper teams, you get your training, you'll be put in contact with the team on the ground where you'll be going. And that's how we ultimately plan to do that. So right here. Okay, Sister Abida says, we have had some experiences here in Tanzania that show us we need to put in place. So it can't be random. In addition, can help with creating the website. See, look at there.
Yeah.
This is how we plan to finance and fund the movement. People stepping up to volunteer their skills and their talents.
That's the investment.
We have everything we need. We have the human resources, the human capital that we need. We already have it. And so I'm going to be in contact with you, Sister Abina. Guaranteed, as soon as this thing is over, I'll be on the phone with you for sure. We have a brother Dulani, African elder. I'm willing to provide graphic design skills and skills to the collective.
See?
You see what I'm saying? So this is what we're talking about. This is why we're here today.
Yes.
So
Brother
we're not
Delano.
talking about the European way,
Exactly.
where the first thing you ask is, well, how I'm going to get paid or how much money it's going to cost. We're talking about the
Capitalism.
African way. We're talking about the traditional African village style.
If
You
you gotta
understand?
bring it, let's do it. Get to it.
Let's
Right.
go. Yeah.
Actually, no, I know Brother Delani. I actually know who that brother is. I know who
That's right, Brother Dulani. Respect.
Yeah, I haven't seen him for some years.
Let me see. This is, it says, from home to physical injuries, from domestic violence to other things.
Exactly.
Very, very real, because a lot of us are finding love out here. A lot of people, they say, I want to leave. And usually you're already kind of estranged in your environment once you get consciousness in the West. So you're already kind of isolated and vulnerable. And if you meet somebody sexy online and they talking the right thing to you, man, you never know. You end up over there and they beat you upside.
You're on the red eye flag.
And so it's real. Domestic
red eye. You on the red eye flag on your way to a black eye. Don't know it because you didn't study the culture. Now y'all in conflict.
Last year there was an issue where a sister went over to meet some guy in Nigeria that she had been talking to online for like a year. Went over there, he kidnapped her and made her pay. Was extorting her family for ransom money. Nobody knew where she was, the location.
That was a sister in Ghana, right?
No, Nigeria. It was out in one of those repatriate groups.
There was a sister in Ghana recently who she was murdered by her spouse, and it was because the breakup meant, hey, I'm not giving you no more money. You can't take care of your other girlfriends no more.
Exactly.
You can't send this money back to your country no more and whatnot. And they stole their vehicle, killed her, everything. And so this is happening already on the continent. And it's not world news. No one's reporting on this. And so this is the real reason why we're stepping up, to make sure that we address this issue. It is not a hustle. We ain't asking nobody for no money. We just asking people to be responsible and step up to the plate if you have skills that can help us. That's pretty much it.
And when you step up, don't be intimidated by the questions that we must ask, because a lot of the times it may just be to jog your memory, right? Or to plant a seed in areas where maybe you didn't think of, but we're here to support you through that.
Oh yeah.
You have our full support.
Oh yeah, it's tough love. It's tough love, sis. It's tough love. When I was growing up, and my big brother, he had to be tough love with me because he didn't want me getting beat up in the streets. He didn't want me getting not understanding how to move around. He had to tough love me, and that's what it's about. That's compassion and empathy. But I don't want people to get confused with okay, we come in and we need your assistance. We're gonna utilize your services, and don't think that there's work to be done. There's work that's going to be both ways, right? And so when we say we are empathic and empathetic, that just means that we recognize that there's a need, and we identified that, and now we're coming with the resources to move forward, onward and upward. We're not trying to sit and politic about what was and what needs. No, we're moving forward. This is action. Right, absolutely. We don't want this to happen anymore to any more of us. Sister Abina is saying here as well, we did start a committee to put things in place to address those and more. We can do this better collectively internationally.
Exactly.
So that's good. Let us. I'll definitely be in contact with you, sister. We're already on the one with each other, so we're already in ranks. It's just about bringing the rest of the team together on this. Let me see what else is here. Brothers and sisters is they're liking the ideal. His brother's saying important considerations. Our people have been trained in self-hate. And so we have to retrain them into self-love.
Yes.
Retraining. This is why we have mental health specialists here. Like the sister said, psyche is dealing with the spirit.
Say that.
You know, they damage the spirit by penetrating the mind. And so, you know, we understand that. And that's why we're taking this approach as Africans. I am not trained as my brother and my sister here are, you know, but they're a resource to me. If I need them, I can go to them. And that's how we have to do all the way around. Shout out to Baba Senghor Baye, First Assistant President General for the UNACL.
Sorry about that.
Yes, Baba said very good. Baba said very good reasoning, very good reasoning, no doubt. Thanks, Baba, for tuning in. Let me see. Native American Reading says, thanks, brothers and sisters. May peace be unto your souls. Peace to you too, brother or sister, whoever, whatever your gender or whatever you are. Mad love to you too, man. Thanks for appreciating what we're doing. And lastly, but Sister Abina says, enough of us are in tech that can do this. And technology is going to play a big, big key. For instance, I just talked about Brother Senghor. One of the roles that I play in the overall struggle is as the third assistant president general for the UNIA. And in being that, I'm also responsible for overseeing the creation and the management of divisions on the continent. Currently, we have 6. So as we organize this A.S.E collective, we'll be able to incorporate that training and that capacity into these divisions that we already have established in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, Gambia, Kenya. So we already have a basis to collaborate with others. And so, you know, the collaborating is going to happen, but technology is going to bring it all together. Definitely. Greatness to y'all. Okay, we got Trinidad in the building. From Trinidad, put your website in the chat. All right. We're getting to it. Okay, President General himself.
Okay.
Says Anthony Murphy, but this here is Baba Malik Akili Nkrumah, the President General of the UNIA ACL. Yes.
Yep.
So you know, we have the full attention of the parent body, of course. Hotep, a very good start, and it speaks truth to power.
Well, since we got the full body and support, I'm a member. I'm an active member.
Yeah,
I'm a URA. I just joined July 1st of 2024. Just in case, because I know I'll be low key a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
welcome to the society.
Welcome to the ranks. That's what it is. We're rebuilding the UNIACL. You know, just to kind of go off course a little bit, because we having a good conversation. You know, the purpose for the UNIACL was to create a society for African people, a nation for African people abroad and home at a time where the whole of Africa was colonized except for Ethiopia. I won't say Liberia wasn't colonized, because we all know that the first neo-colony on the continent is Liberia. And so with the exception of Ethiopia, the whole continent, there was no nations, there was no government. You understand? That wasn't determined by our enemies. And so the vision of governing ourselves, the mission to create new institutions that take care of us, for us, doing for selves, you know what I mean, is what it's always been about. This RBG, this red, black, green, this Garveyism, this African nationalism, this Pan-Africanism, is about us doing what we need to do for ourselves. And the A.S.E Collective is brought to you in that spirit, and we plan to maintain it. Back in the day, they had the Black Cross nurses. You know, they had different auxiliary organizations, other formations that helped to build the government.
Yes.
You know, help to give better governance to our people, so we could respond to our needs.
African Legion.
One of the reasons why we named our organization the Black Star Action Network International was because the mission of the Black Star Liner was to not only facilitate trade, but also travel, to make sure our people could travel from place to place without having to spend money with outside of our race. And not only that, but to bring people who are experts, people who can facilitate industrialization, people who can facilitate rapidly advancing the total interest of the
Infrastructure.
African race. And so even though the Black Star Line isn't there, the Black Star mission continues. And so that was the purpose for creating the Black Star Action Network International. Because once you're here, what are you supposed to do? Implement the Black Star strategy. You know what I mean? So
how long? 2009.
2009. 15 years as July 15th, 2009.
That's sweat equity in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been getting
international. Yes.
Internationally.
Yeah. Started in the States. And when I got here, we just expanded it. You know, we have membership everywhere. We have coordinators in Nigeria. We have coordinators everywhere. Even some of the UNIA members are with us within the Basani formation, because there's a difference between a conventional government and a nonprofit organization and a mass movement. And so there's differences there. And so just like the original UNIA ACL had their Black Star Line and they had their different component organizations, Basani is just like that, lockstep with the parent body, which we support completely, 100%. In fact, I want to make a call to those out there who are Garveyites and are doing projects and programs to connect with the UNIACL RC 2020. We're looking to build stronger relationships. We're already doing the work of our ancestors. We're just not united under one banner yet. We're already doing it, y'all. We're already millions in the ranks. We're already sweating. We're already getting it in. But we got to bring it home at some point. Shout out to my big cousin, Roderick Gas, Baba Kimo. Shout out to you, cuz. Thanks for tuning in.
Baby Tony.
Let me go down a little bit and see where we're at with this. We also talked about safety and first responders training and preparedness for emergency situations. We've done that here as Basani since I've gotten here.
Yes.
The first thing that we had to respond to in a serious way was the Ebola outbreak. When the Ebola outbreak happened, most of the people had no idea. They never heard the word before here in Freetown. They didn't know what it was, but it was already knocking people down. So we organized an awareness campaign. We went out in the streets. We went on the air, on the radio, left the Freetown, went to Conakry, and was rapidly spreading this information about Ebola. So people, one, they knew it was real, because there was a counter propaganda campaign that was saying Ebola isn't real. So people wasn't sure if they really should take it serious or not, even while the bodies was piling up. So we was countering it with a public awareness campaign. Anywhere we could spread the word, we spread the word. And I believe that it helped to save some lives, because knowing is only half the battle, but at least they knew what it was after encountering our own information dissemination. So that's one thing. You have COVID. The broader world has just experienced COVID. And COVID is still out there. This thing is still out there. And so it's like, how do we operate within that? What is our emergency response? We do cleanups often. We organize communities here to do mass cleanups. And in one of the communities that we was organizing in, we was attempting to organize fire response as well. But I asked the young person, I said, if a group of people, I asked him, I said, man, if your friend gets stabbed and he's bleeding to death, do you know how to stop the bleeding? Raise your hand if you know how to stop the bleeding. None of them would have been able to save themselves or anyone else, because they had never had the conversation brought to them. They had never realized, like, yo, if I get stabbed out here, or if I get hit by a car and my head is leaking, or my arm is broken and it's bleeding, what do I do? They have no idea. And no idea.
He asked about the other woman. She had a little small child with her. If your child is choking, what do you do? Nobody knew. Nobody can answer.
They didn't know. They didn't know the basic.
They don't know these apply pressure. or higher mental
Hmm.
maneuver. That's not
Or
what
there's
goes with
different
trauma.
ones, whether it's a child or an adult
Exactly.
or a pregnant
Exactly.
woman.
Hmm.
Right. Right. And so, there one of the infrastructures that need to be put in place is emergency response in general across Africa. As we come back, there's other ways to invest, and it doesn't have to be money. It can be
Skills.
skills, human capital development, making sure that these communities are fortified with people who know how to respond to fires, who know how to
Nurses.
respond to emergencies.
Hmm.
There was a deadly mudslide here that
We
happened.
responded
Over
to
a
it.
thousand people was wiped out to the sea in one mudslide, crushed under mud. Their whole houses just crushed on top of them, and we responded to it. We had to respond to it. We was here on the ground, so we wasn't just going to sit down and watch the news. We had to respond. And so even in that, dealing with people in post-crisis, like right when it happened, there were people who lost their parent that we had to now stand in front of and say, "How can I help you?" With nothing,
Mm.
Nothing.
nothing. We don't
No
have anything to
housing.
help them with, but how can I help you? I'm here to help you. And so, when it's real time and you really have to respond to it, you need the skills. You need more than just the will to do it. You need the skill set. And so, the training, the emergency training, is a big, big area that we want to be able to empower this A.S.E collective with. Someone here is saying uh, we did a few workshops as well in Tanzania with
Exactly.
Red
Red Cross.
Cross.
That's
Look
what
at
we're gonna
that.
That's
use.
great.
Asha.
That's
That's what
great.
we're gonna use
That's
too.
Bring
exactly
those
what we
skills over
plan to
here.
do. Yep, exactly what we plan. They have a Red Cross here. They have a
Water
fire
force.
force,
Yeah.
but they're very small. But they do get the training. But the training only stays
Get the
within
training.
their own institutions.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we want to pay
Don't bring
them.
it over here.
We want to pay them
To train us
per
up.
hour to
Yeah.
come and train the communities for free.
Mm-hmm.
The community's not paying us. We're just raising the resources to compensate the trainers,
Right.
and then let the people get the
Yeah.
training for free. And so,
Yeah.
thank you, Bina. Absolutely, we can partner, and that's what we're talking about. Resource partners, identifying the people within the countries who already have these skills, so that we can start organizing the trainings on the ground ourselves, the experts. To capacitate everyone. I know we're talking about the safety of the African diaspora traveling to Africa, but we're also talking about African people in Africa.
Exactly.
Our own people need to be safer. Even,
Need
even
the
as
training.
even as we respond to Sister Shakina and others being, dying on the continent, giving up the Holy Ghost on the continent, it happens also among our own people here, more than you know.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a big case in Sierra Leone, a sister named Sia Karoma Ashe. Kamara, I'm sorry. She was allegedly a victim of domestic violence. She was beat to death, allegedly, right? Because the case is still open.
Yeah.
But it's not just us. It is not just
Exactly.
us. We have to be a resource
For
and an
all.
intervention for the whole of Africa with this. You understand? And some people do have the
And know
resources.
that.
Red Cross got money. They got resources. They need to tap in and make sure they can
Right.
train more people. You understand?
And then it prevents us from always having when we can use those resources from the Red Cross and get that training. Now they deal with us. We deal with each other. We work together. We don't have to have outside programs all the time because now we've gotten the training. Now we're going to take it. We're going to run it with it.
Exactly.
And we're going to train others, right? Because then you don't want relationships being cultivated that are not righteous relationships. We might not know. We just thankful to get what we can get, right? No, it's for us to take those skills and bring those skills so we can use it with it when it's applicable to us. But yeah, that's right and
Right.
exact.
Right. This person here is Marabuntus saying, here in Trinidad, today is the so-called 62nd independence. But let me say, we, the children of our African ancestors, must formalize our own collective independence. Say that. Say that. Say that. And that's
A
what this
BB
is about.
Toomey. A BB Fahodia.
Abiba Toomey, Abiba Fahodie. That's what we're talking about, is our own collective independence. You know, no one can give us our independence. It's something that we have to assert for ourselves.
That's
These
right.
fake independences that they gave us, they've always been false. This neo-colonial reality that we're living in, it's something that we still have to fight to get free from. And the only way and the best way to do that is to collectively organize ourselves and begin to operate as our own sovereign nations for ourselves. Create our own institutions. We talking about Red Cross, but we need our Black Cross back.
Say that, Black
You know,
Cross.
Like,
we need our
come
Black Cross
on.
back.
Brother
You know?
Ramsey said it. Self-determination.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So shout out to the family out there in Trinidad, man. We got a whole international audience here today, family.
Sure we do.
Jim Bob says yes, gods and goddesses. At least he know.
Exactly.
This conversation is
That's a
worthy.
rule.
Yeah, this conversation is worthy of the ancestors.
Ashe.
We must unite with our struggling family and help them with the skills we have learned through hardship.
Say that.
Let slavery be worth something. Damn right.
Say that.
We ain't suffer for nothing. They ain't
Exactly.
suffer for nothing. If it's anything
Oh.
we learn, it's how to survive.
Persevere, yeah.
If anything we learn,
Come on.
we learn how to persevere.
Resilience,
As Mike just
perseverance.
said, we're resilient
Perseverance.
people.
Yeah.
And we can no longer sit around and wait for them to intervene on our behalf in our own communities. If there's a fentanyl outbreak in your community, why are you waiting for the police to do something about it? If there's a Kush outbreak in West Africa, why are we waiting for international people to come and give money to the government before we do something about it? And so it's real. It's about us.
We have a responsibility. And that's what our system is. It's a system for us to be accountable, able to account for what we put forth and to continue into perpetuity. African sovereignty.
Absolutely.
You have a responsibility. Let's get to it.
Free North Al-Kibulan says formalize, yes. But what we really need to do is think of ways to communicate on our own terms and platforms to spread the word. And we need to do it ASAP. So true.
Kambunga.
Yeah.
Baby Tony.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that comment there too. You know, go ahead, brother.
No, I'm just gonna say one more thing because I know we're reaching past time. But what I would say is the decolonization process is necessary. Yeah, because there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there who feel that they cannot do the work because they don't know how or they don't have the confidence. So, it's not about lip service. It's about your actions. There's brothers and sisters globally you can network with, just like what we're doing right now with our initiative, with this platform. And even if it's the smallest thing, you can always contribute, and make a difference.
Absolutely,
brother. We have
because what you think is small, it could be a mustard seed, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. You never know. You never know. All right. So we was going to talk about the social media platforms, but I think we touched on that quite a few times. The next part is basically our closing statements, and I want to give everybody opportunity to have their closing statements to the public before we close out. And I just want to say, if anyone has any questions, particularly questions, if you have any questions you want us to address now, put it into the comment section. And if you have any questions that come up after this, you can always email them to us. Again, African State of Emergency @gmail.com. Spelled all the way completely out, Africa with a C. Right. So I guess I can start with the closing remarks. I really want to appreciate you guys, the team, for answering the call first and foremost. It's one thing to talk about it. It's one thing to understand it, but it's a whole nother thing to actually do something. And I know we're all busy. We're all spread thin with time. But one thing we learned is that we can have a bunch of ideals and have a bunch of grand statements, but if we ain't doing the work, if we ain't putting in the actual work that we're talking about, then we need to just shut up and sit down And so I appreciate those who answer the call and step up when it's time to really step up. You know, we dedicate this to Sister Shakina and all the others who already have lost their lives, you know, in this struggle for us. I wish we could have saved them. But everything happens for a reason. And of course, in the African state of mind, we know that we never truly die. We live to live more. We never truly die. And so, you know, the sister spirit is here with us. Our brothers' spirits are here with us. Our ancestors' spirit is here with us. And this is what I believe all of them will want us to be doing, given that we heard the call. We received that download that it's time to do something, and we're actually doing something about it. So it's an honor, and it's a great thing that we're doing, y'all. If you're out there and you're watching this, even if it's 10 years from now, just know that we had and have you in our, you know, in our hearts as we step forward. This is a social media platform. It's just a roundtable discussion, but it's the beginning of something. It's the beginning of something that we're actually late on. This should have been put in place already. We've been coming to Africa for decades. Some would say centuries, because our ancestors from the diaspora have been coming back for centuries, literally. We need this. This is not a want. This is a need. And so my last statement would be to call on everyone who has the skills and the talents outlined in this particular presentation to step up, step up, step up. Even if you don't have a lot of time, step up. Even if you don't have a lot of resources, step up. It could be the difference in saving someone's life or us having to bury someone else very soon, because it's not going to change without our intervention. It's not going to change without us stepping up. You understand? So for me, that's my final statement. And I just want to pause there and just say again, thank y'all. And shout out to Brother Ramzu. He's in Egypt. And so he told us already that it was going to be a little difficult for him. He hadn't really get an opportunity to speak much here, but that brother is leading a serious mission for us to understand self-determination and taking our freedom and our future into our own hands. That brother has been all around the world working with all different kind of partners and friends to build bridges, to build diplomatic relationships, so that when we get here and we're ready to move, we already have those relationships in place. You know, this brother walked with Mugabe. This brother walked with Hugo Chavez. You know, this brother actually has already been approved by the ancestors to be here with us on this march. And so, you know, we salute him as well, even though he's not here. And that's pretty much what I got to say, y'all. It's some questions.
All right, though. President.
It's some questions, though.
Want to do the questions, or we want to finish our?
We can keep going. We can keep going and then come back to the questions.
All right. So, in closing, this is our call to action. We answered the call. We're here, and so we're looking to expand. Right? Well, you can't unknow what you know, and once it's brought to you, that's divine alignment. There is a responsibility. I'll keep reiterating that. When it crosses your path, you must show up. And if not, keep your mouth closed about what's going on. We don't need armchair revolutionaries.
Say that.
We're talking about a transformative change, right? So if you're ready, let's go. And if you're not, hey, in due time. We don't shut anybody out. But when it's time, right? And for us, that's where we are. So if you're ready to get on board, let's go. Ashe?
Ashe. Sister Abina says she's ready.
All right, Sister Abina.
Queen Mother Jalika, closing remarks.
What can I say? Tonight has been very inspiring. As an elder here, I would like to see more young people being involved. It's important. I'm speaking from the concept of coming from UK and seeing what has recently just happened in UK in terms of the distractions, and all the bother that's been going on. The young ones need to stand up, be noticed, and there is a need. And I am older now, so they need to come and help us with the IT.
Yes.
Right. Right. Tasha.
Yeah,
Brother Siraj.
Yes, Mama.
Okay, so I would like to, what I would like to just say, just a shout out to all of you, and to thank all of you, for taking the time out to come together to formulate the ideas, this initiative. I appreciate all of you, and also Brother Ramzu. I appreciate all of you, because if it weren't for you guys, this won't be happening. So I do appreciate that. And I also would like to say, when it comes to just as a people, we have to really take care of our mental, spiritual, and physical well-being. It's imperative that we take care of our well-being. So the whole purpose of this initiative is to assist to enable that.
Absolutely.
Ashe.
Absolutely.
Ashe.
Yes. Again, I would like to thank everyone of you guys for just helping, making a call, doing your work. This is so very much needed. I'm really happy something like this is here. We didn't have it. We didn't have it. We were on our own struggling. And we don't have that. We don't have to do that anymore with something like Ashe Collective. So of course, I'm gonna make another call to action. If you have any skills that you think, even if it's not the teams that we are on, if you have some skills that you think that can assist us with this initiative, reach out, email us, africanstateofemergency@gmail.com. I'm on the public relations team, of course, so if you have any media, website, graphic designs, writing for our blog, please reach out. Don't hesitate. We'll be putting up our web page soon, and check out our social media, African State of Emergency on Facebook as well as IG. Thank
That's right.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just wanted to quickly say as well, this is an African-centered initiative. Keep the
Yes.
oil boards out of it. We don't need them.
Yes.
We ain't trying to work with
Yes.
them.
Yes.
we
Yes.
don't
Yes.
need we don't need no Urungos. We don't
Yeah.
No
need.
Urubus. Leave them at home.
No,
We
Urugu.
have to do it for ourselves.
Mhm.
So there's a few questions we can address before we go off. Says, how is this syncing with the Nubia International Cadre? Thanks again. The Nubia International Cadre is a cadre formation that has various African American and Caribbean groups connected, like the Nation of Islam, the Republic of New Africa, the UNIA. It's an international cadre group that's particularly, I know Baba Senghor is a part of it. I mean, he's in the leadership. And also our second Assistant President General, Dr. Chinzara Kanina. She's also a part of it as well. To answer you, we're already plugged in. This initiative operates in tandem with the UNIA, in tandem with Basani, and these organizations already are connected to the Nubian International Cadre. We're already tapped in, but we need to really reach out and formalize some relationships with some of the bodies. That's all. And then let me see. Anyone contacting the AES government yet about visa, ancestral diaspora citizenships? This allows investment, tourism from us, and less chance they will feel free to invade and plot against our home. Very, very, very good question.
Good
Sister
question.
Ia?
So in short, the answer is yes. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
certain conversations are for other circles. The
Yeah.
answer is yes.
So we're tapped in. The Ashe Collective is tapped into what you're talking about. And yeah.
Mhm.
Let me see. would be interested to know the favorite historical books, resources on Africa from the empresses here, specifically, if possible. So that's for y'all. That's for the queens. Any favorite historical
Oh,
books?
decolonizing the African mind, Baba Chinwezu. Yes, yes. Nation building by Baba Akoto. I'm not gonna. Somebody else, because I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, Garvey, yeah.
Yorugu, know who you are,
Yeah, you're
okay?
exactly.
And know who they are, okay?
Garvey and Garveyism by Amy Jackson Garvey.
Mental side, so you don't feel like you alone out here. That's Baba Molima Barudi. Because when I read that, I was like, oh my God, somebody who I'm in alignment with, because I don't know what's going on out here. Is it just me? So read some books. You won't feel alone.
Yes. So that's pretty
What
much
else? What
it.
else?
I think there's no more questions. Let me see. There's okay. Someone has answered with some of the books.
Okay.
Stolen Legacy, yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Intellectual warfare. Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah. Yep.
So you already
Bobby
on the
Wright.
right track. You know, Bobby Wright, psychopathic
Wright.
racial personality.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Okay, so that's also when we get mental side, yep.
Yeah.
All right. So
Inspired.
we're gonna close up.
Hey, I probably shouldn't say that on this phone. Okay.
But remember that we will be presenting here often. We actually plan to have we actually plan to have a bi-weekly podcast in the future where we'll bring different people from different areas onto a podcast setting where we can begin the dialogue and keep this conversation going. This awareness, this security and safety awareness, you can't just get it once. It has to be always reinforced. And so this is something that we want to present. It'll have enough class and enough Africanism that you can sit down with your family and your babies can turn on, can watch and listen, you know, and even chime in for themselves. So y'all get ready for that. Again, our email is African State of Emergency @gmail. All right, y'all can send your questions there. If you would like to get involved, you just let us notify us there, and we'll be in contact with you. Everything has been set up from the registration forms. You're going through the process of a skill assessment, and everything has already been put in place for us to rapidly begin to gain people now. So there's no hesitation to it. Let's do this. All right?
Africa for the Africans at home and abroad.
Yes, sir.
Ubuntu.
Yes. One Africa. All right,
One Africa.
I'll let y'all go. Peace and love.
Peace. Latvia. Dua.
Right.